Organizational change management is really dealing with the people side of change. We're trying to make sure that our changes, our big changes that we're making, are successful within our organization, that changes are implemented successfully, that they last, and that the benefits are achieved. Sometimes the change will be implemented and people don't focus on the people side of change, and eventually everyone just goes back to doing things the old way. So this is about making sure that doesn't happen. This is not technical changes. Technical changes are managed under Change Enablement, or as many people call it, change management. This is more about making sure that even some of those big technical changes, that people really buy into them. We're really trying to get people to do something that might be uncomfortable, because it turns out people don't actually like to change. So it's trying to get people within your organization to understand why they're being asked to change, and if instead of being told what to do, tell them why we're asking them to change. You can kind of think of this a little bit like sales, because you're trying to get people bought into your change and bought into why they should be doing something different.
Some people ask me, well, how is this different than some of the other ITIL practices? So for example, a lot of times people sort of confuse this with the workforce and talent management practice, which is a new practice to ITIL 4. OCM is not about getting people with the right skills and training them. That is a little bit more of the focus of workforce and talent management. We need that. We need that to make organizational change management work well. But from an ITIL point of view, they put that into a different practice. It is really true, though, that OCM is closely related to workforce and talent management. It's closely related to the relationship management practice, because we want to make sure that we have good relationships, not just with the high levels of the organization, but really with people at every level of the organization. We care about the strategy management practice here, because we want to make sure that when we have an organizational change initiative, that it's in line with our overall organizational goals, that if we have smaller initiatives, that they're in line with larger initiatives. And then really fundamentally, organizational change management is really about continual improvement. So when you think about that also very broad practice, that goes hand in hand with organizational change management. We used to talk about OCM as being really there to help people to overcome their resistance to changes. And another way that we start to think about that now is not so much overcoming people's resistance to change, although that's still there in many cases. We really talk about getting people used to being uncomfortable, getting people used to changing very rapidly, changing all the time, and being okay with that rapid pace of change, with not always knowing exactly what we're doing and how we're going to do it, but feeling comfortable enough that we're able to do that. So we're talking about needing to have greater emotional intelligence to understand what's on other people's minds, greater social intelligence to understand how teams think collectively, and then really systems intelligence. And what do I mean by systems intelligence? How does the initiative that we're working on within OCM, how does that fit into other initiatives that the organization is doing? How does that fit into the organization as a whole? So being, aware of where we stand. So these are some of the newer concepts with OCM that ITIL 4 is really bringing to the fore.